Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Phyrexia All Will Be One action, and today I have a fun deck with Elesh Norn. We're playing a deck I call Norn's Buffet, hoping to see what kind of crazy value pile we can make work with Elesh Norn. I feel like Elesh Norn has not gotten I haven't seen a lot of Elesh Norn running around, and it hasn't gotten quite the respect that she deserves. And so today we're playing a standard list with a bunch of ETB triggers. Everything in this deck has an ETB trigger that works well with Elesh Norn. We're hoping to double it up. Some of the most interesting ones, I would say, though, we got Mightstone and Weakstone, which is crazy good with Elesh Norn, actually, because if we have Elesh Norn out here, it enters the battlefield, and we can choose one of either of these things. So either we can remove two creatures by giving them both -5/-5, or we can draw up to 4 cards. Or we can do a combination. We remove the biggest problem on their board, so we remove the Shield Druid, and then we draw 2 cards. So this card works super well with Elesh Norn, and you know what's another card that works well with Mightstone and Elesh Norn? That would be Skitterbeam Battalion. It does say that you have to cast it, so it doesn't work well if you like reanimate the Skitterbeam Battalion or you create a copy of it. It doesn't get the ETB, but in this case, we're always going to be casting Skitterbeam Battalion, and it says whenever it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, create 2 token copies, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. And so if we have Elesh Norn out on the battlefield and we cast the Skitterbeam Battalion, either for its prototype cost or for its full mana cost, we end up with a total of 4 token copies of it and just a crazy ton of hasting, trampling power to swing at our opponent. So let's go ahead and see how we can do with this Norn's Buffet value pile on the Mythic rank ladder. I was having a lot of fun, and it was performing pretty well in standard games. So let's see. There'll be a full deck at the end of the video, so stick around if you're interested in that. And if you enjoy watching Magic Gathering Arena videos, also consider subscribing, because I think like the wide majority of you, last time I checked, it was like 95% of people are not subscribed. Yeah, let's go ahead and keep this. We got the Spirit Companion, which can give us some card draw, which is very nice. When it enters the battlefield, draw the card. But yeah, even without Elesh Norn, even when we don't draw Elesh Norn, we still have quite a nice value pile, and we have ramp with the Mightstone and Weakstone that taps for 2, and this can only be used to cast non-artifact spells. Well, or cast artifact spells. It can't be used to cast non-artifact spells. That still can be used with the Skitterbeam Battalion to ramp into that. What do we want here? We got a red. Another red might be nice. Because if we prototype out the Skitterbeam Battalion, it costs 2 red. But yeah, this is a 4-color deck, so you kind of need some dual lands, which is nice. And that's why we're only playing 2 copies of Topiary Stomper. Originally I started with 4. I think you can still keep 4 if you really want. I didn't really run into any problems because we have like 5 basics in this deck. So we generally are able to just find ourselves a basic. Hotshot Mechanic, are you supposed to be a like artifact aggro deck? A bit confused what their grand plan is here. But I think we'll go ahead and just draw some cards. No counterspell in white will stop us from doing this, thankfully. We can't swing in with oh. Are we just gonna get the Skitterbeam Battalion win? Because we have 7 mana, so we need 2 more lands. The next turn we get the Skitterbeam Battalion going off. We get Jewel Thief to create ourselves a treasure token. This is another fun one with Elesh Norn doubling that up. Oh, no, we don't get any, we go ahead, tap it just to show our opponent we have a mouse and keyboard. If we had another land open, we could actually tap that and then use it to cycle the Jetmir's Garden. Not much we can really do about this at the moment. Oh, okay. That changes plans a little. That changes plans quite a bit. We play this brush land so we can cast this for... No, we can't cast it for free. That is interesting that our opponent flashes that in response. Do we might want to keep the Jetmir's Garden in hand just in case we want to go ahead and use the cycling ability. No attacks here. Because we can use the the Spirit Companion to block either the Hotshot mechanic or Cathar Commando, depending on which one they choose to, if they swing in with one of them. Elesh Norn, really nice because it's got a really high toughness value, so she's good for blocking. And then she's got Vigilance, so you can kind of freely swing in. Alright, that's pretty lame, but we should be fine regardless. Because we can go ahead... Yeah, we need a bit more go on here first. We could play out 2 Jewel Thieves here. But we lose the treasure token of one of them. Will we have enough mana next turn regardless of whether or not we have the treasure token? No, we won't. Okay, we'll just hold off. We'll just full cast the Skitterbeam Battalion, giving us 12 hasty power, and then I think we're pretty well set up to beat them down for like 2 turns and win. Unless they find another sweeper. Adeline, not bad. That does do some blocking. My turn. Ooh, that's a nice card. Go ahead. Skitterbeam Battalion for full cost. Would have been really nice to have the Elesh Norn with this, but still quite the good card without it. We can swing in with everything, but these don't do anything. Yeah. We'll do this anyways, because if they want to block the Skitterbeam Battalion... I don't think that makes too much of a difference. Ossification to get rid of 1 Skitterbeam Battalion. To get rid of another Skitterbeam Battalion. We still have 7 trampling damage. And we have 2 Jetmir's Gardens, so if we like... What could we top deck? If we top deck another Skitterbeam Battalion, we kind of just win. I don't think that was the move, opponent. That was not the move. Do you have a instant speed pump or removal? Okay. Good. Cycle this. I think we still have 5 mana open. No. Our land's tapped, funny. Alright, we'll go ahead and pay this. Or play this. Play this. We get a +1 counter. Don't really need the any other things. We'll get another mountain here so we can cast Skitterbeam Battalion without worries. We could play this Jetmir's Garden, but I don't think it's actually going to make a difference at this point. Let's swing in. Opponent does not want to trade. They could have crewed up their bank. No, they can't crew their bank buster. We have blockers for their token, as well as Adeline with the Topiary Stomper. Nope, they're just going to continue to show us why white has some of the best removal in Standard. If they draw another card, and then they'll be able to draw a card with a reliquary, roadside reliquary. Oh my gosh. Opponent playing quite the crazy value pile. We can go ahead and block the token here so their board doesn't get as wide, but we're not looking so hot at this point. We need a Skitterbeam. Skitterbeam. Let's see if we can find a Skitterbeam. Elesh Norn wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, that's not horrible. Go ahead, put a +1 counter, and then we get another Alliance trigger because of Elesh Norn. Tap treasure token couldn't be too bad. Life total, I don't think we need to worry about quite yet. And then I think we go ahead and swing in with a Skitterbeam Battalion because they're going to trade off their Adeline. No way you trade off your Adeline. That was such a good card to keep around. I mean, I guess they would have had to block with like at least one token. They could have blocked with one token pretty happily. You have another depopulate. You don't have any card draw, so if you do depopulate, you're stuck with your wedding announcement tokens, and that's it. So I don't know if that will really win them the game, considering we have double Jewel Teeth in hand. We need to find another card draw spell, or one of our card draw creatures, because we got Spirit Companions, and then we also got, what are they called? The blue 2/1s that have like a bunch of different options. Opponent here looking to swing in, which is interesting. What could they have in hand that gets them something good here? Or are they just done with the game? I think they may have given up. Ah. It was a depopulate. There we go, Aether Channeler. That's nice. We could draw a card with this. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do first off. Draw a card. Because if we can find something good off the top deck. Okay, that is not what we needed, but we'll go ahead and take it. We can play this down, and then we have enough for the Jewel Thieves. Let me get you grade A+1. Or get A+1. Do you have another depopulate is the question. You've played one of them, so I doubt you have another. Do you have a farewell in your mono white madness pile? We don't really need HP as it stands. Because we're doing pretty good in terms of HP. Cassia is welcome, that's not bad. Cassia is welcome. So they're gonna draw 2 cards off this wedding announcement, but they're dead. Alright. We win. Very nice. Really didn't get to see Elesh Norn do anything that game, but forced our opponent to wipe every single time they played, or she was played, so. Still nice ETBs. If we go up against an opponent playing Elesh Norn though, I'm gonna lose it. I am going to lose it, because that shuts down our entire deck. Because not only does Elesh Norn, the thing with Elesh Norn is that she doubles up your ETB triggers basically, but she also shuts down opponents' ETB triggers. It's technically not exactly ETBs because this trigger is not off of it entering the battlefield when something else enters the battlefield, but you get the idea. We have Rocco here, which is quite the fun card to play with Elesh Norn. We need like 6 mana. We can play it down for 5 mana and get a ton of value out of it with Elesh Norn. But if we have 6 mana to go with it, that's when it gets really crazy. It's also really nice because we can use Rocco if we have like 8 mana. We can pour 8 mana into it and find out an Elesh Norn. Okay, we're playing against soldiers with the turn 1. I don't think we're winning this one, but we can give it a go. We can give it a go. I don't know if we bother playing the Gala Greeters. We'd much rather get this Jewel Thief down sooner rather than later. Soldiers on the play is not something we really wanted to see. Another tap land is also not something we really wanted to see. But yeah, this Jewel Thief is going to be much better than playing out this Gala Greeters and then not playing out something this next turn because we have only tap lands. So we could have played out the island, played the Gala Greeters, or we could do what we're doing now, which I think is ultimately what we want. Aether Channeler, that's very nice. If we get this Elesh Norn down, we're in a decent spot here. But we need an untapped land to do that. But we can use Aether Channeler to bounce something. This card is one of the nicest cards in this deck because it gives us a bunch of different choices. We can create a bird, which can give us another creature to trigger Gala Greeters another time. Or we can go ahead, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Or we can go ahead and draw a card. Opponent here searching for a mana value 3 or less soldier, which is basically all of them, and they get basically one of the best ones with Valiant Veteran. The only thing that's better than Valiant Veteran is probably like Sky Strike Officer, Harbin, and Okay, there's a lot of things better than Valiant Veteran. You get my point. But I think we'll go ahead, play out the Spars headquarters, and then we can bounce. We could bounce the recruitment officers so they don't have an attack next turn. And then we'll get Elesh Norn down, which shuts down some attacks for the time being. I don't think they have any sort of removal. They're not going to block with the Yoshin frontliner. They technically have blue mana with their Secluded Courtyard. There's the Otawara, and they're at Ganjo. They got Mishras as well, which is kind of funny. But I mean, I guess you're a creature deck. Mishras is really good against sweepers. I haven't been playing much of Mishras, though. Mishra's Foundry has not found it into many of my decks. Just because it kind of shuts down the idea of playing multicolors. There we go. No attacks for our opponents because they can't attack in past our creatures. And then we get Elesh Norn down, which further shuts down their game plans. Do you have a counterspell in your soldiers deck? They have Resolute Reinforcements here that they need to cast for. Okay, I'm gonna go like. Ah! You're kidding me. You're playing a counterspell in your soldiers deck? I mean, that's the counterspell to be playing in soldiers. But I don't think we can win now. Like, that was very important to have. Well, we gotta keep creatures off the board, so attacking in with Jewel Thief isn't the end of the world if they want to double block. I think we'll get rid of the Yoshin frontliner, despite the fact that it can unearth itself in. Because if they have a Siege Veteran, they can potentially get a token off of it eventually. Though we could have kept it for the Lorna the Third Path target. This is not ideal. We could have played Rocco out after getting our Elesh Norn, which would have been great. Okay, that's game. That's gotta be game. I mean, we can Mightstone and Weakstone their Harbin, but they still got 2 turns of attacks. So. This is why Soldiers is the best deck in the format, because it just has so much value with every single one of their creatures. Yep, you get a little freaking token, because you're playing Soldiers. Yippee. Very, very obnoxious. Well, we can snipe the token with the Lauren next turn. So we might want to play Rocco and get a Aether Channeler in response. Or as like our creature. This says, if you cast it, when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle. So really nice to double up that trigger with Elesh Norn because we can find 2 creatures, and those creatures' ETBs also get doubled. Opponent here gets the sickest attack of the century with soldiers. Buff up your tokens, so you can swing in with that. I guess you can swing when you attack in with your Yoshin frontliner, you can give it the +1 treatment. Nah, there's no point in playing this one out. I genuinely were like dead on. We would have to block like 2 of their creatures, right? They would have had 12 damage between these because they put the +1 on that one. They have 12 damage there, so we have to block at least 1 creature. But if we block 1 creature, we're still taking 5 + 6, 11 damage. So we would have to block single block with each of those. We don't have any sweepers. That was gone and done. Soldiers on the play. And then they also apparently had a counterspell. I mean, not a bad idea to have a counterspell. It's just hard to believe that they were running a counterspell because I'm pretty sure most standard brews of soldiers do not include a counterspell. Alright, this is not a bad hand. We got some ramp card draw. Courier's Briefcase, I swapped out 2 of the Topiary Stompers for 2 Courier's Briefcase because they have an ETB, and they also act as like a treasure ramp, which is nice because they can mana fix, and then they can also create creatures, and then we're not running into that potential problem with Topiary Stomper finding no basics because we've played all our basics. Got quite the Celestia hand though, so we're gonna struggle to cast this for its prototype cards with the double red is one thing. And then lastly, I guess another thing with the briefcase is we can draw 3 cards if we have a treasure to go with this, which we might because uh, we have this card, and then we have the Jewel Thief, and we have the Galley Greeters, all which creates treasures. So we can potentially cast or use this draw 3 cards mode, which is nice in some scenarios, right? Cards are cool. Opponent here trying to decide whether or not they want to keep their hand. I can't blame them. It's quite the conundrum many times. Thankfully we have 3 lands here, so we don't have that much problem. And then we have like 2/2 drops, so even if we didn't have 3 lands, we'd have had something to do for a while. It's nice that we have this tap land and this untap land, so we can actually kind of curve out real smooth. Soldiers on the play again. Yeah, this is probably over. Probably over. Do have Elesh Norn here. We will be able to cast Elesh Norn if we top deck another land. No, we actually can just play Elesh Norn normally. Okay, so we'll play to play out Elesh Norn. Opponent has a very nice curve here with the Ocean Frontliner into the Valiant Veteran. How many 1-drops are there in Soldiers? I guess you play like 2 Skrells or 1 Skrell as like protection, and then you play like Ocean Frontliner. Okay, okay. We get it. You got like the nut draw, but every draw in Soldiers is a nut draw because every card in Soldiers is nutty. Topiary Stomper doesn't produce a blocker here, so we don't want to play what is the right play? I mean, Topiary Stomper lets us ramp out a Elesh Norn next turn. No, we need the tap land. We go ahead and do this. This is a blocker, it draws us a card, then we have this untapped land for next turn, and then we can play Elesh Norn. And then we can play Topiary Stomper, search up 2 lands, that brings us to 6 lands. Yeah, we might as well just surrender. There's no point. They have a Resolute Reinforcements in hand. Why would they not go ahead and play it out? They play it out next turn, and then, or on our turn, and then they just swing in next turn, and everything has flying and +1/+1. Wow, back-to-back Soldiers. I mean, it is #1 deck in the format in terms of win rate. I don't know if it owns the top of the list for popularity. The reason that I don't play Soldiers is, well, it's only like 1 deck. I get bored of decks, and then it's so many rare wild cards. Like, holy crap. Every soldier. I mean, there are a lot of bombs, but like amazing creatures, but at the same time they're all like rares. This is an annoying hand because we're going to be taking pain land damage, so hopefully our opponent's not playing mono red, but if they are playing mono red, whippy, yippee. Opponent, what would you like to do? You are going first, so this is 3 games on the draw. Oh, no, you're not going first. Thank goodness. Though you are playing Esper, so less thank goodness. Can we beat an Atraxa pile? They might be playing Atraxa. Atraxa is one of the most popular cards, sort of, at the moment. What do we want to do? We gotta play Jewel Thief here. That gives us a treasure token, then we can create a treasure token with Galley Greeters if they don't cut it down. Alright, do you want to counter our other Galley Greeters? Or I guess you could try and counter a Courier's Briefcase. We take another damage, because Brushland is our only green source. Thankfully we do at least have a green source, so we're not completely mana screwed in this game. Okay, we've worked our way through counterspell and 2 removal spells, right? I think that's what we've... Nope, just a removal spell and counterspell. My bad. My bad. Alright, Gallagreeters. Actually, let's go ahead and attack in. Do you want to kill my 1/1? Cool. Good. Good talk, opponent. Counter. Syncopate. Dissipate. Ah, damn it. We're playing a greedy deck into freaking control. Not enough of our creatures are low to the ground, and they're all ETBs. They're not... Well, most of them aren't cast triggers. So we're gonna struggle to do absolutely anything here. I think we play out the Topiary Stomper, find ourselves another land? Or a green source so we can stop shocking ourselves for the life of us. So freaking annoying. There we go. I do like the Skitterbeam Battalion here. Ooh, Mightstone's really good into Shield Druid. Do we stand a chance? Nope, we're not gonna draw a land. That would be crazy to do so. Okay, no attacks, so we can actually block the Shield Druid if they want to swing in. You get to draw another card with Kaido. Get together and gain more life with Shield Druid. Experimental Augury, you get to proliferate Kaido. Insert, pick one of your best cards from your top 3, which is probably a removal spell. We will be able to potentially ramp out a massive Skitterbeam Battalion if we're lucky here. Keyword, if we are lucky. We don't have a creature in the... No, we do. Okay, I thought we only had the Courier Briefcase. Did a little lying there. We're also going to be doing a little dying here. Go ahead, swing in on the Kaido. If they would like to block, they can. They don't need to block because Kaido still draws them cards, regardless of whether or not they block. We don't have double red anymore, but we can play out a Courier's Briefcase, and then we have double red for Skitterbeam, which we can cast next turn for the low cost. But do we want to cast it for the low cost? Obliterator, we can go ahead and show ourselves out. Yep, there's nothing we can really do into the Obliterator. We don't have enough, or we don't have an explosive enough hand at the moment. We had one fun game, and then it's been Soldier, Soldier, Control, and Painland. DDD. Are you the fabled King DDD from Kirby? We have a decent hand here with Asparas into the untapped land, into Gallagreeters, into like Aether Channeler. Courier Briefcase is also not that bad. We've had not quite the best of matchups. Would like to think that we've gotten a bit unlucky with our opponents here. I don't think you have removal for this Gallagreeter, so we are free to go ahead and play it out and cry a cry of joy. Sweet. Alright, we'll go ahead and play this out. Play Jewel Thief here. I think we'll just go ahead and ramp. I don't think there's any legendary creatures with flash that they might be playing out here. Plaza of Heroes indicates they're playing legendaries of some kind. Because it taps for 1 mana of any color if they're playing legendaries. Opponent here getting completely mana screwed. Feel kind of bad, but... Oh, that's pain. I feel bad for them. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and draw a card, I think. And then finish our triggers with Ooh, that's a nice one. Go ahead, play this. Go ahead. I don't think we really need to draw a card at the moment because we have these that can also draw cards. Get this, and then it creates the swiper that we can gain 2 life, and then it also serves as another attacker to finish off our opponent before they get to play any of their crazy good legend cards. They must have had another Relic of Legends. Lagrella. Exile any number. Oh, interesting. Koryo's briefcase can help us here a little bit. I mean, we could go ahead and play out this and go crazy, or we could go ahead and draw a card. What do we want to do? I mean, Skitterbeam here gives us like just a 2-turn clock, right? We'll go ahead and just do that. Not get too greedy here. We should be thankful that our opponent got land screwed. Yeah, they're gonna block the Aether Channeler, but it's fine. They're actually gonna block the Skitterbeam Battalion instead of the Aether Channeler. Interesting. Alright, and then we should just win next turn. If they play, I don't think there's any legendaries that save them here. Skitterbeam showing why it is not a bad aggro threat at all. Managed to eke out a win against an opponent that it was mana screwed. We go from getting like super unlucky to getting lucky, which, man, I really wanted like a game where we actually like played against an opponent. Because I was less of playing against an opponent and more just playing against a life total. Alright, let's see if we can actually get a really cool game here against Rajinga Taxis opponent, which scares me. Nice thing is this draws a card, so even if they kill it. Okay, I swear to God, I put the forest the first one. Did I not put the forest to the first? I'm losing it. Alright, do we just want to ramp to a Skitterbeam Battalion? Because we could do that. I mean, this creates a treasure token so we can play Gallagrators, do a Spirit Companion next turn, which is nice. Skitterbeam really good against these kind of removable opponents. If we top deck a land that's untapped, we can Skitterbeam Battalion. That is not an untapped land, unfortunately, but that gets us to Skitterbeam Battalion territory next turn. And we get to draw a card. He can blow up their Bankbuster with his Lauren as like a next objective, but just trying to make sure we have a way to kill their Liliana. Crew, swing in, discard. What is the right move? This Lauren is really nice because we can get rid of their Bankbuster before they draw any cards with it. But I'm very worried about this Phyrexian Vindicator because we don't have any good blockers for it at the moment. Jewel Thief helps us ramp into like a full Skitterbeam Battalion, which could allow us to get explosive enough to kill our opponents. I think we can go ahead and get rid of the land and then just Lauren next turn. Hopefully we draw into something. What we don't have any good removal for these obliterators. Man, nobody was playing Obliterator on the standard ladder. Go ahead and discard the land, I think. I think that's the right move. I think that is the right move. Because we can Jewel Thief into a Lauren, which is kind of nice. You're not going to swing in. You're going to protect your Planeswalker like that. Crazy. Okay, we'll go ahead and just keep this land in hand as a discard target, I think. So if we don't play it, we don't have a way to cast it. I don't know. Actually, no, we have a treasure token that we're creating. We're fine. Discarded a Flesh Gorger. Now we get to Lauren. Bye-bye, Bankbuster. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. We get to keep our life total up some with his Gallagrators, which is nice. We're gonna hold the Spar's headquarters. Hopefully our opponent just chooses to remove one of our creatures with Liliana here. Though they might have an invoked spare. Nope, they don't, but that kills the creature because it can give -1/-1 to our Gallagrators. Did not expect that, because who the heck plays that damn card? That is not great for us. Are you gonna make us sack a creature? Because I would be happy with that. No. Though we could double block, lose everything we own. That seems like an intriguing offer. No. Opponent taps down here so we can kill their Liliana. They don't go for the Liliana. Yo, I like it. Alright, so I think what we want to do here is we play out Elesh Norn, and then we swing it, or well, we can swing in for the Liliana. Yeah. Like this. Ones with Vigilance. One of them's gonna die. Probably the Jewel Thief. Or they could kill the Liliana, or the Lauren with no problem. Alright, interesting that they choose that one, because they lose their Phyrexian Flesh Gorger here, so they must have something really good in hand. I feel like. Because their Obliterator is going to have a tough time actually finishing us off here. But then we can just play out the Spar's headquarters, and we can play out a massive Skitterbeam Battalion next turn. So we can do that at instant speed. Do we want to give them a card? Just in case they have a Liliana, we're going to actually go ahead and do this. This gives us something to discard. Also gives us more gas, which is important. Childred. Childred. Come on now. So we get this, we get 10 trample haste power. But then we have 4 here, 1 here. That's not enough. Unfortunate. Oh, I like that. I do like that. So maybe what we do here is we play out this, and then we play the Aether Channeler. And then we can bounce some of their board and swing in. Or draw a card, bounce the Shieldred to then draw a card. And then we get to create some value with the Gallagrators as well. Alright, Gallagrators. Yeah. So we're going to resolve. I think this one happens last. So we can click draw a card here. And then we create a treasure token. We return your Shieldred to your hand. So show us it again. And then we gain some life. And then we create a treasure token. We draw our card. Sweet. Bonk, bonk. That is the double triggers that Elesh Norn provides us. Memory of Tashira, though, says they're playing Invoke Despair, and lots of them. That is not the end of the world, honestly. Because this means that we can go ahead and ramp, I think, enough into a full cost Skitterbeam Battalion, because this gets us 2 treasure tokens. We spend one of them, so we get 1 treasure token, we get 2 basic lands. So 2 basic lands puts us up to 7 lands, 1 treasure token remaining. Ooh, is that enough? That's not. Right? No, we spend one of them, so we have 2 treasure tokens. Yeah, we can. Next turn, we have a full cost, or like a full Skitterbeam Battalion. So we just need to survive this turn. And then we also can block with this Topiary Stomper and swing in with it. This is huge. This is very big. Get ourselves that. Island, can't hurt. No attacks, because you have your Phyrexian Obliterator on defenses. And then next turn, I think we have lethal. Just straight up lethal. Even with the Obliterator out, it won't matter. The only thing that could potentially ruin our chances is like an Invoke Despair. We do not care about the Obliterator swinging in. This was a game that was much more playable into this Phyrexian Obliterator because of the hand that we had. We still had a lot of action. Our opponent hadn't completely dominated the board and everything. Alright, get ourselves a bunch of Skitterbeam Battalions. Let's go! Boom! And if we lose this game, we lose this game. But I think we've won. I think we have won. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Oh man, that's so satisfying. The just series of crashes of your full 5 Skitterbeam Battalions. Alright, we'll play one more to wrap out this video. I will go ahead and fix the music. I hate that it does that. It's like, are you still there? I'm like, yes. It's been like 30 minutes. Of course I'm still here. I have more patience than just 30 minutes. What do you guys use for listening to music, or do you not listen to music at all? Because I know like some people like use Apple Music, Spotify. I think Amazon Prime has like some music offerings or something like that. Ooh, this hand's spicy, but it's so slow. But part of me wants to just keep it to see what happens. Because we have like a decent end game plan here. Oh, we're keeping it. Screw it. Yeah, and we're drawing, so that's cool. Alright, yeah. We should be okay, I think. Opponent. They are playing Slesny Bant. Okay. We do now have mana to pay for these Skitterbeam Battalions on their discounted cost. Ooh, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Do you have a counterspell for a Jewel Thief? I will be kind of sad if they do, but if they use it on that instead of Elesh Norn, it seems kind of cool. Please don't be ban control. Endless Detour. Okay. I mean, we're happy to draw it again. We are happy to draw it again, though Endless Detour, seriously underrated card. Putting on top of your library is almost worse. Or, well, it's as good as countering it in a lot of situations, because then it also removes the chance of you drawing something good. Keep shocking yourself, opponent, because you'll be shocked what happens next. Haha. Get it? Funny joke about how we're going to be uh, trampling into them with the Skitterbeam Battalion soon. Opponent here tapped out. We love to see that. We love to see that. They go for a card draw here instead of anything else. Strange. But we will take it once again. We're very happy to see that. No counterspell open for this, which means it gets to stick around at least for a turn until they bounce it back to our hand and then counterspell it when we try to play it again. Or they could Endless Detour it from the... I think Endless Detour... Yeah, target... Oh, no, spell. Oh, no, spell, non-land permanent, or card in graveyard. So you can... They could go ahead and put it into our... Oh, they're going to sweep the board. Yep. Man, man, oh man, oh man. Alright, well, we're discounting a Skitterbeam Battalion and removing all their planeswalkers. This is why you need to play real sweepers. Real sweepers. Skitterbeam Battalion showing us why haste is amazing. Actually, we swing this one face and then this one. At Wanderer, we clean up all their planeswalkers. Bye-bye. And we have quite the lethal threat on board. With a Skitterbeam Battalion in hand, they need a sweeper right about now. Farewell would do them pretty good, but then we play Mightstone and Weakstone, draw 2 cards, play Skitterbeam Battalion next turn for 12 haste trampling damage. Acre Moon Gauntlet. You take a turn off to play Acre Moon Gauntlet? Oh boy, oh boy. Do you have any sort of removal spell or counter spell? Holding up a counter spell would be good here for them. Trying to think of what's the right play if they do hold up a counterspell. We don't have a bounce spell to hand. Nice thing with Skitterbeam Battalion, again, creates a bunch of different threats. So it's not as straightforward and easy as a different spell might be. Alright, do we think they're going to counter Mightstone and Weakstone? Well, let's go ahead and swing in, because... well, I guess we could have gone for the... I don't really want to play anything out. That's going to get sweepered by the farewell. Like, if we play this Topiary Stomper, though, that gets us a land, which I think makes it worth playing. And potentially fishes out a counterspell, which is the other reason why we're playing it. Another green source wouldn't be too bad. And then we play this, draw a card. And then if they only sweeper creatures here, I think they're not going to sweeper artifacts here probably with the farewell because they have the Ichor Moon Gauntlet, so we should be good to full cost Skitterbeam Battalion. I think we'll play that land just to be sure. Yeah, full cost Skitterbeam Battalion if they sweeper with a farewell, and that would use up all their mana besides one green. So if they play a blue here, if they get another blue source, or yeah, if they play another land here after farewelling, we're in a bad spot. If they don't, we're in a good spot. Because then they can't hold up a counterspell after farewelling, and we can just Skitterbeam Battalion straight in for lethal. Do you have removal? Temporary lockdown would only get rid of actually nothing on our board. So that's not going to do anything. To populate would do something. They did play another land here. Will they be able to hold up a counterspell? The question. You need a farewell. Go in exploration. That's a good sign. They're only down to they're down to 6 mana. So if they find it to populate, we're still in a like, okay, well, they have no sweepers. We sort of played into a sweeper there by playing out the Topiary Stomper and the Aether Channeler, but I wasn't too concerned because we had the Skitterbeam Battalion. But honestly, probably shouldn't have played them out. There we go. Okay, I think that shows us enough of the deck. Let's go ahead and hop into the deck tech. We'll break down the specific numbers of cards, maybe some feedback for the deck, or things to note. Alright, so this is Norn's Buffet. I guess let me fix this for those who might be OCD about it. Here we go. Oh, no, there we go. Norn's Buffet. Now it actually has an apostrophe. Spirited Companion here, nice ETB, drawing a card. Just a really good card to play on curve. It serves its job, and they can chump block. Similarly, we have Courtier's Briefcase. We have 2 copies of it because we're less a fan of it in terms of, like, yeah, it can ramp us into Elesh Norn sooner, and it can help fix our mana, but it's only a treasure, whereas Topiary Stomper is a little bit better. But yeah, this creates a chump blocker, a 1/1 token when it enters the battlefield, and then it acts as a treasure that can also pay Wooburg to sacrifice it, and sacrifice it to draw 3 cards. We also have Gallagher Readers here, a great inclusion in a Elesh Norn deck so that we can make sure we can get basically all the alliance triggers almost every turn. Because if we play a creature, we get 2 of them, and then if we play another creature, we finish it off. So pretty easy to get the full value out of Gallagher every turn. And then Gallagher is great because it can pump itself when it needs to be a blocker. It can create a treasure token if we need to ramp, or we want to try and potentially fix our mana, or play Skitterbeam Battalion. And then the 2 life can also be relevant. So just really love Gallagher. The problem is it is a 1/1 in the 2 mana spot, so if you're playing against a really aggro opponent, Gallagher kind of sucks in that regard. Lord of the Third Path, nice card. We're only playing 2 of them because they're legendary, and it's less fun than all of our other options here. We didn't actually get to see Rocco go off, did we? Oh my goodness. Dang it, that's kind of sad. But I would definitely say if you try Elesh Norn with Rocco, and you'll probably have a lot of fun. Anyways, returning to Lord of the Third Path, great for destroying those Bank Busters, those other artifacts and champions, like those Fables, and then, like in a pinch, I guess you can draw a card with it. It leaves behind a chump blocker, on top of being an artifact and enchantment removal spell. Aether Channeler. Now this card can be good in a series of different ways. We get that extra creature that can trigger Gallagher Readers. We can return a non-land permanent, which we saw that being relevant, well, somewhat relevant against that Shieldred and Obliterator deck that we faced. And then we can go ahead and draw a card if we just want to try and find more value hits. So like this is nice when we're we're sitting there with like 7 mana and the opponent sweeper the board, well, we can play Aether Channeler out, draw a card, hopefully hit another creature that we can play out, and try and keep flooding the board or putting up a board presence to try and fight the opponent. Jewel Thief, I love this card just as a card and in this deck because, well, it's a 3 mana Vigilance Trample 3/3 that also creates a treasure token. So we can create 2 treasure tokens if Elesh Norn is out there, which is really nice, but the treasure token is nice because it's untapped, so you can kind of combo this into like, oh, you have 5 mana, well, you can play the Jewel Thief and then another 3-drop, which can be pretty explosive. Um, and it's just such a great body for like blocking, attacking. Well, it can also attack and block because there's vigilance. So very nice in that regard. It's like sort of almost a better Topiary Stomper, which is our next card. This costs 2 green to get out there, so it is important that we have a lot of green sources. So we're playing a lot of green-white dual lands because our second most common. We have 14 green, 12 white that we need to satisfy here, and so that's why this is part of the reason why we have so many green pips. But yeah, this helps us find out basic lands, which is nice because that can help us ramp us into those more expensive options here, like the Elesh Norn, the Mightstone and Weakstone, and the Skitterbeam Battalion. But the problem is it can't attack or block until you have 7 more lands. We do have a fair amount of treasure sources at this point that we're using to ramp out, so sometimes this can attack or block, but it is still really good in terms of ramp and then having this creature that might be relevant. So it's not the worst card. Rocco Cabaretti Caterer. This card is a ton of fun in this deck. Sad we didn't. Did we get to cast it? I don't think we did. I think we had it in our hand one game and then our opponent conceded before we got to play it. And they also sweepered like our Elesh Norn away a bunch of times. I think it was the first game. But if we get to cast it, we can pay like 5 into it and just find our Elesh Norn if we have nothing better to do. Or if we have Elesh Norn out there, we pay 3 into it, and this is the absolute value bomb when we have Elesh Norn out there because we cast it, it's a 3/1, and it tutors up 2 3-mana creatures from our deck onto the battlefield because it says when it enters the battlefield if you cast it. So it is an ETB effect. So it does get doubled up by Elesh Norn. So then we can go ahead, find ourselves 2 Aether Channelers, and then each Aether Channeler that enters can bounce up to 2 permanents. So like if we really want to, we can play Cabaretti Caterer, Rocco Cabaretti Caterer, and then it tutors up 2 Aether Channelers and then bounce like 4 non-land permanents. So we can just like blow up the opponent's board basically and then swing in. Or we can go ahead, draw 4 cards or like create some combination of like birds and drawing and bouncing. Or we can go ahead and tutor up Jewel Thief or tutor up Topiary Stomper, which will find us our remaining basic lands. Or in a pinch, we can also tutor up Lorn of the Third Path to blow up multiple enchantments. So Rocco, an absolute blast to play with Elesh Norn on top of Skitterbeam Battalion. I do recommend these 2 as things. If you're looking for fun things to cast with Elesh Norn, these are probably some of the most fun, Skitterbeam and Rocco. The other ones are just really good value. And then Elesh Norn, 5 mana, 4/7 with Vigilance, really good body for attacking and blocking. And then just, well, the entire purpose of the deck, we get to double up our triggers and completely stop our opponent's triggers. And then Mightstone and Weakstone. This is another really good like value card with Elesh Norn because, well, if we have multiple of them in our deck and we draw into another one, it is legendary, so we will legend rule, but we can go ahead and pay 2 mana to pay for our other one, and then our other one comes down, like we only end up spending like 3 of our lands to pay for it, and it gets rid of 2 creatures, or it draws us 4 cards, or some combination of it. Because most creatures do not have greater power and toughness than 5/5. Think of Obliterators, you can destroy them with a Mightstone and Weakstone. Think of Shieldred, you destroy them with Mightstone and Weakstone. Vindicators, you blow them up with Mightstone and Weakstone. What is another really annoying, like, powerful creature in the format? I don't know. Well, it doesn't get rid of the opponent's Elesh Norn because the ETB won't trigger, but if you do have an Elesh Norn out there and the opponent has a 7 toughness creature, you just double -5/-5 on it and it goes. So really nice combo here with the Elesh Norn. And then it can help pay for itself. I guess it can help us pay for Courier's Briefcase, because that's another artifact spell we added to this deck. And then lastly, it helps us cast our big Skitterbeam Battalions, which get absolutely massive with Elesh Norn, because, well, you pay 9 into it, Elesh Norn's there, you create 5, or you basically end up casting out 5 of these 4/4 trample haste. That's 20 trampling haste attack damage or power or whatever. Like, so you just kind of play this, you play the Skitterbeam Battalion, you swing in, and you kind of win often. Usually the opponent's board, or even if the opponent's able to block enough of them, you did so much damage that it hardly matters. Because next turn you just clean it up, and or you keep going off with your crazy value pile. Then lastly, in terms of lands, we have a full playset of Jetmir's Gardens and Spara's Headquarters, because we're playing red, white, blue, and green in our deck. So we have, these are nice lands because, well, they help us pay for anything in our deck basically, or they help us pay almost anything in our deck. And then we can also cycle them, which we saw was sort of relevant in some of our games. We pay 3 mana, cycle it to help us find another like value card to keep the fun train going. We're only playing 2 Razorverge Thickets here because, well, we do want some untapped lands in this deck, but we don't want them to come in tapped later in the game because we have so many of these expensive 5 and 9. It's like 5. Well, we actually technically have like 12 5-drops, and then, like, if you want to count this again, 4 9-drops. So hopefully we're not drawing into too many tap lands later into the game. That's why we're only playing 2 Razorverge Thicket here. We're playing 3 Overgrown Farmlands because I only have 3 of them, but they come in untapped later in the game, and this way we don't have too many tap lands, because we only have like 12 here if you had like a full playset. And then we're playing 3 Brushlands as another sort of tapped land. But we didn't want to consume too many of our basic slots though. That's why we're only playing this many of these dual lands. So we actually have ourselves 6 basics here: the plains, the mountains, and the island. So we have 6 basics here. These can be tutored up with our Topiary Stomper, and hopefully we have a basic left in our deck to do so. Then we have Iganjo here. These also just prevent like land destruction from being too much of a problem. We have Iganjo here, nice removal on a land, right? And then this also can destroy an artifact enchantment in a pinch. So that's Norn's Buffet. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of the deck down below. If you did enjoy the video, consider subscribing and leaving a like. It helps out the videos a ton. And have a nice morning, night, evening, afternoon, night, whenever and wherever you're watching. Ciao.